Good morning! Hey everybody, Trevor Howard here with So Tell Us Time. As you can see, it's just me today, and actually it didn't start out that way. It actually was Troy and I earlier. Unfortunately, we had audio issues, and Troy had to get out of here. We've really loved the new setup that we've had. I did a video on it. It's worked really well for us. Unfortunately, the Rode Procaster did an update, and our system Ecamm Live did an update, and they stopped talking well, or something happened. The settings got all messed up, and we've been trying to get our audio back in play because audio is important. We want this to sound good for you guys. We want you to enjoy it while you're listening to it. So I had to scrap earlier's podcast and redo it on my own because Troy wasn't here anymore. So bear with me. I hope we still have a good time today. I know we will. All right, well, we just finished up an event, which was super fun because guess what? I got to run into some of you guys. Thank you so much for coming up to us, letting us know that you love the podcast, that you join us every week, and that you've just really enjoyed listening to Troy and I. And that's what we hope for. That's our whole goal, is to help the business owners, help you guys grow your businesses, think through the different things that you may be experiencing, the highs, the lows, the happies and the woes, like we talk about, the personal and the professional. So it was so fun seeing you guys at this event, and we really appreciate you coming up and letting us know that you're enjoying the show. Thank you so much. All right, so today, are you prepared? Are you prepared for the end of the world? No, just kidding. Not the end of the world, although if 2019, 2020, and even into 2021 has taught us anything, you just never know what's going to happen. But that's not the preparedness we're talking about today. We're actually talking about taxes. Yes, wah, wah, wah. No fun. Taxes suck. I agree with you, but they are a necessary evil, or at least they're mandatory, so we have to deal with it. But what we're going to be talking about today is many of you prepare or are thinking about last year's taxes, 2021, getting everything ready. Now is the time when you're kind of getting everything put together and getting it over to your accountant and thinking about those taxes. And that was for 2021. That's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about for today is actually preparing for 2022, to make 2022 not as hectic as 2021 was, especially when it comes to taxes. Because if you're like most entrepreneurs, and ourselves included, we have, succumbed to this as well in the past. We wait till the end to implement everything, to get everything ready, to prepare everything, to make sure that we've got all of our tax write-offs and all of these things put into place. And that's not a great way to do it. It makes these few months of the beginning of the year, when you should be, really cranking and ramping up your business, it makes it very hectic. So we're going to be talking about preparing for 2022. What can you do this year that you didn't possibly do last year? Because think about it, January's over. Yesterday was the last day of January. So now we're into February already. You're going to be working on these last year's taxes, but you need to be prepping for next year's taxes, and this is going to make it a little bit easier for you in life. So let's talk about that. One system that can make life a lot easier is QuickBooks Online. I started using this in my consulting business, Voodoo One. Super fun. In fact, check this out. I'll show you guys. I had my Voodoo One custom Yeti cup created here with my logo on it. Yes, this is my consulting company. You've probably heard me reference it before, Voodoo One. It's in fact, it's the logo. I love the logo for it. It's pretty cool. And these are down in the triangle, these are little like voodoo heads, little shrunken heads. And my tagline is killing your competition. I like it. Hopefully you guys like that too. But I started using QuickBooks Online for my consulting business, and it was really nice because it would categorize everything for me easily. So when you sign up for it at first and you implement it, connect it to the bank and everything like that, it's going to pull in all these charges that you've been putting in there. And it's actually going to pre-populate, is this charge this? And is this charge this? And is this charge this? And you can just go in there and say yes. And if it's not, you change it. And what it starts to do is if it sees recurring charges, it says, okay, great. Is this always the case for that? And you just say yes. And so every time that charge comes through, it already knows how to categorize it, which is really cool. It makes it really simple. And instead of waiting till the end of the year to organize your books and get everything in place and all your charges and all your write-offs, if you're doing it throughout the year, it makes it so much easier. So when you get QuickBooks Online for the first time, it's a little bit, I wouldn't say a headache. It was super simple. It just was a little bit of time. It was kind of time consuming to get set up for the first time, just because I had to say, yes, this is this charge, this is this charge, this is this charge. And then, but moving forward now, it's just like every couple months, I log in, I spot check things, and then I move on. So it made it super easy. So QuickBooks Online, if you don't have something that you're using already, check out QuickBooks Online. The next thing is tracking miles. Tracking miles is really easy if you have a system in place, instead of just like the olden days when I would do this too. I had my miles logbook and I would sit there and write down, went to this meeting with this person, this many miles, and I'd be getting my Google Maps out and mapping it and all this. Well, now they have apps on your phone that will just track you. So Troy and I actually use a app called Everlance, and it makes it super simple. It's just tracking us when we're driving all the time. And the cool thing is when you're done with a drive, it detects that you're done driving and it says, is this a personal or a professional mileage? And it's just swiping. You swipe right for, I believe, for professional, and you swipe left if it's personal. And so if you swipe right, it will even let you put in what it is. You can make notes about it, make notes about the meeting, things like that. The other cool thing is Troy and I both use it for charity work, because you can get, if you didn't know this, you can write off charity miles as well. So you can swipe and it'll ask if this is charity miles, and you can put those in. And so Troy and I, we love charity. We donate money as well as our time to charity. And so we want to make sure that we get that write-off though. So Everlance is a really good program that you can be using for tracking your miles. The third thing that you can do is put a bookkeeper in place. So we used to track it all and do it all ourselves and try to get everything ready. And it's like we would get months behind. And I have many, many friends, especially if you're a one-man show. You're wearing all the hats, one man, one woman show. Well, you can get months behind on your bookkeeping, and that's not good. You need to be knowing what your books are doing, what your numbers are looking like. And if you're listening to us and following what we say, you need to know your numbers. And in order to know your numbers, you have to have your books in place. So Troy and I couldn't keep up on it on our own, so we hired a bookkeeper. They're not super expensive. And so I would recommend, and we would recommend, you getting a bookkeeper to keep up on those books so that they're always up to date, so you can always log in, see what's going on, have everything organized, and it makes it even easier at the end of the year for your accountant because everything is up to date. And again, it takes headache off of you. All right, well, those are the 3 tips that we have for today, and it's going to be a quick one. We just wanted to kind of go over this, get your minds thinking about 2022. I know your mind is wrapped around 2021, wrapping that up and getting everything ready for taxes, but let's start thinking forward so that we can make 2022 easier for us than 2021. Being more organized helps us to be more profitable because then we know what's really going on in our business. So homework for this week, take a look at what you can implement in your business right now that will take the stress off of you for this next year. This next year's taxes. And then one thing I'd like to add, just in my closing remarks actually. When it comes to taxes, we all have write-offs and we have fun getting creative with our write-offs as entrepreneurs. But one thing I hear over and over and over again and see in all of our clients or lots of our clients or even friends who own businesses is at the end of the year, their accountant comes to them and says, hey man, you really got to write off this X amount of dollars. And so a lot of them try to get creative and write off toys. They try to write off cool things, like they get a razor and they wrap it in their business and they're going to, drive it in the local parade and promote their business, or things like that. Things that aren't really truly going to generate you business, but it's something you want, so you get creative and you find a way to write it off, which also puts you at risk for getting audited. So that's not a fun thing to do. It might be fun to get that toy at the moment, but it won't be fun going through an audit later. So why not put in that money into actually marketing your business? So because marketing is a write-off. When your accountant comes to you and says you have X amount of dollars, why not put that into marketing for the next year? Why not even prepay? A lot of marketing companies will allow you to do that. Of course, nobody's going to say, hey, I'm not going to take your chunk of change and take it now. You can do that. Use that money instead of getting super creative and getting that toy or whatever it is you want, that RV or toy hauler or toy that you want to, or that extra truck or new truck for you to drive around because you got to get rid of it. Anyways, put it into actually something that's actually going to turn around and make you money. And that will help your business grow, obviously, which will then get you those toys anyways and help prevent you from getting audited over something silly. Okay? All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode of So Tell Us Time. We will be back next week. I promise we will have the microphones and audio worked out. Hopefully this turned out. I've been playing with it. It sounded good. So fingers crossed. We will check you guys on the next episode of So Tell Us Time.